Who are you?
Lieutenant Jones, sir.
Right, our West Pointer.
Yes, sir.
When'd you graduate?
June 6th, sir.
June 6th? Of last year?
D-Day, yes, sir.
All right, don't get hurt.
Hi everyone, I'm Johnny, and today we're taking a look at Band of Brothers Episode 8 titled The Last Patrol. In this episode, we will get some new perspectives of the war as Easy Company nears the end of combat operations for some of the paratroopers. So let's take a look. The episode starts out with Easy Company entering Haguenau, France, a city with a wartime population of around 20,000, and one with both German and French heritage. This town is only about 20 kilometers from the German border and the Rhine River. Easy Company and the 101st Airborne occupied the area up to the Moder River. Prior to the arrival of the 101st Airborne, February 5, 1945, the Americans took Haguenau December 1st. The Germans counterattacked and retook the town late January. And the Americans at this point in the episode are near to pushing the Germans out again. The town as such is in a poor state, with the bridges and many buildings demolished. Easy Company, however, are out of their former frozen foxholes, where they were previously fighting in Bastogne, and are happy to have roofs over their heads. At this point in the war, much of Easy Company is exhausted. Attrition levels were very high. Men were simply wearing down. Punctuating this was Carlwood Lipton's case of pneumonia. Easy Company at this point had been frozen in battle, food and sleep deprived, and running on fumes. Men were regularly falling ill. The luxury of a hot shower in the episode after the norm of washing out of a helmet would have been a huge morale boost to many of the men. These industrial shower setups the Allies had were such a huge indicator of the industrial and logistic power of the Allies. Considerable resources were spent just on things like trucks dedicated to showers and even laundry services. The enormity of behind-the-scenes logistics are always fascinating. Just to expand on this, here is an example of a Canadian laundry truck used during World War II.
The mobile laundry, a part of the Royal Canadian Ordnance Corps, moves around from unit to unit in the field. While the troops are having a bath or a shower, their clothes are washed, dried, and returned to them within an hour.
Episode 8 is largely from David Webster's perspective. Webster was a journalist and author and wrote a memoir called Parachute Infantry. He returns to Easy Company here at Haguenau after skipping out on the previous and horrible Battle of the Bulge due to being wounded in the leg in Holland. His perspective is particularly poignant in the episode, as he returns to find many of his old comrades gone, having been killed in action. The Last Patrol, as it's called, involves a handful of men from Easy Company crossing the Moder River to take German prisoners for intel. The episode being from Webster's perspective puts Webster directly into this squad of men conducting the mission, but in reality Webster was manning a machine gun to provide covering fire for the men on their return. Lieutenant Henry Jones, a new officer just assigned to the 101st, also takes part in the mission. Lieutenant Jones is played by Tom Hanks' son, Colin Hanks, who in fact looks a lot like the real man. The mission is a success, bar one casualty, Private Eugene Jackson, who runs into a house before allowing time for a grenade to go off. It's a scene all too realistic, and a mistake any soldier can make under pressure. Much of the modern training soldiers go through today still comes from combat lessons learned and statistics gathered from World War II data. After the mission, Winters must brief his men the next day that another mission has been ordered. This might be one of the strongest leadership decisions Winters makes in the series, and is true to history. He orders his men to essentially forego the mission and submit a false report. No doubt things like this happened all the time during World War II, but Winters did risk a court-martial taking this action. It's a great example of an officer knowing the time and place to disregard a dangerous or unnecessary order. The episode ends with a series of promotions. Lipton finally receives his battlefield commission. Winters is promoted to major, and Lieutenant Jones becomes a first lieutenant. Henry Jones had decided on becoming a career officer. However, sadly, he would be killed in an automobile accident in Germany in 1947. Easy Company would further lose one man to a court-martial, Private Roy Cobb, who became drunk and assaulted Lieutenant Foley, though the episode has him verbally confronting Sergeant Martin and Lieutenant Jones. You can just catch Cobb being driven off by MPs at the end of the episode. Alright, I'm Johnny. Thank you for taking a look at another great Band of Brothers episode with me. Our paratroopers have now been taken off the line and are getting some well-needed rest in France. And the next episode, they will be heading into Germany. So join me then, and we will see you in the next one.